down to Dort. This is Lou Dort, and I'm down to dunk. This is Lou Dort, and I'm down to Dort.
I'm Josh Giddey, and I'm down to dunk.
Hey, this is Kenny Hustle, and I'm down to dunk.
I'm Darius Baisley, and I'm down to dunk.
I'm Mike Muscala, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Poku, and I'm down to dunk.
I love cereal. Captain Crunch, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Cracklin' Oat Bran.
Oh, I can have these. I'm going to share with my team, but I'm going to hog most of them.
Welcome to Down to Dunk. I'm your host, Andrew Schlecht. We're part of the Athletic Podcast Network. With me, never ever on Tuesdays. Good friend, Michele Bear. Michele, what's up?
It's so weird. I mean, 2 Sundays, then Tuesday. Like, what is happening to us? Like, it's
Avoiding Monday at all costs here.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for tuning in. I think a lot of you did see that we were scheduling this for Tuesday, and you guys sent us a bunch of really good voicemails. So we'll start with one about Michele's favorite player in the whole wide world, Lou against Dort.
Hey, Andrew and Michele. I was just wondering what you think some realistic numbers for Lou Dort next season might be. I mean, averaged 17.2 on 40% last year, 1.7 assists. You see any of that going up, going down? What? Thanks.
Thanks so much for the question. Michele, thoughts on Lou Dort's stats?
I think that 6 points per game, that would be okay.
We'll give it 5 shots. 6.
No, 7 shots, something like that.
Oh,
no,
wow.
I think that the most important thing here, before we discuss points, is amount of shots. I think that before Chet went down, I think that the sweet spot for me was around 10.
Yeah.
10 shots per game. I think that he can grow a little bit more. So I wouldn't be surprised if he goes around 12. I think that he could be 15.5 to 16 points per game kind of season for Lou Dort. Maybe more if he's more efficient, if his offensive role keeps growing. I mean, 17 points last season, that seemed like no one foresaw that. If the efficiency grows, then yeah, I mean, take more. With the current efficiency, I think that 10, 12 shots are his sweet spot. And this gives also space to others. But yeah, that is what I think.
Yeah, in 51 games last year, he was 17, 4, and almost 2. 40% from the field, 33% from 3. I mean, it's going to be about the same. I think he's going to get about the same opportunity just because Chet's not there. And, like, who else is going to have the gravity? Who else is going to take the shots? Like, maybe Trey Mann takes a shot from him. Maybe J-Dub takes a shot from him. But, like, realistically, he's heading into his 4th NBA season. He's one of the more experienced guys on the team, and he's going to be counted on for points. I know that doesn't sound like something that you'd want to say about Lou Dort with his primary like NBA skill being defensive stopper, but this is one of the things that I think could be a good thing about this team not having a lot to compete for, is like Lou Dort can have time and space to develop his game.
Yeah.
This happened with Jordan Poole in Golden State. Jordan Poole, his rookie season, was one of the worst players in the league.
Yeah.
A lot of people thought, like, how could they have drafted this guy in the first round? Like, are you kidding me? And then they tanked for 2 years. And he got to have as many reps as he wanted. And with those reps came improvement. And then when it came time for the big guys to come back and play, he actually had some skill because he got to showcase it and he got to play against high-level competition and he developed. Not everybody's going to develop because you play on a bad team. Not everybody developed in Golden State. They had a lot of players that didn't develop. Jordan Poole is one of them. I think we think of Lou Dort as kind of this finished product to a degree.
No, I think that this is this is something. Yes, you're right. This is one of the mistakes we always do on both sides of the spectrum. Sometimes we see a rookie and we see, wow, there is a ton of improvement.
Yeah.
And for guys that are in year 3, year 4, we say, yeah, that is the kind of player that he is.
Yeah.
Sorry for
Ludort's
interrupting you.
Ludort's 23.
Yeah.
So, and he was like a high level recruit out of high school to Arizona State. This is a guy that has room to improve. And one of the ways that you get him to improve is giving him just more room to kind of explore what his game is. And I think that this season is just, while it's a bummer, I do think that Chet boxes him in a little bit more because Chet is going to demand possessions. Chet is going to change the way they play on offense. So I would say that this is a chance for Lu Dort to do the 17 points per game again and perhaps even more, honestly, because there are not a lot of high volume like possession eaters on this team. There's just not. You know, like it's Shea, it's Lou, it's Trey Mann, and then it's like
maybe. And then there starts tons of maybe.
And then it's like, what does J-Dub demand? You know, what kind of, shots does he get? Because like he took a lot of shots at Santa Clara. He's a guy that can take, offensive load. Like to me, if there's going to be anybody that's going to take shots off his plate, it's him. Because I mean, you look at what he did at Santa Clara. He's 18 points a game. It's 18.4 last season. You got to take a lot of shots to get to that level. And so he's a guy that theoretically could take shots from him and have he and Trey are the only two guys that I'm like have a chance to average more than 15 points a game. I wouldn't even predict that they would, but I'm saying if you were to find somebody on the roster that would do that, I would say those two.
Yeah. And
I would say it's highly unlikely that either of them really do that.
I have such a high hope for Trey, man.
Yeah. Trey's got a chance. He needs to have a good finish to the summer and a really good training camp.
Yeah.
To get there, because he's going to be a guy off the bench. It's tough to average that many off the bench. I mean, like flat out is. And same with J-Dub. Like it's going to be tough for him as well to get there. But I'm just saying, like potential wise, it's those two. Like I don't really see that in anybody else, really. Like Jang won't be ready yet. Aaron Wiggins not going to take that many shots. Baisley, no. Poku. If that happened with Poku, I mean, that would be like the greatest thing in the whole world, but no. So, I mean, those are the candidates, but I do think that a lot of times we probably do Lu Dort a disservice in the way that we talk about him because there is still room to grow. He's a guy who works his tail off.
Yeah.
And those guys sometimes make a leap that no one's ready for, So I would say he's going to be about what he was last year, if I were to make a prediction. Give or take 1 point and 1 rebound and 1 assist on either side.
Yeah. And again, the key is efficiency and number of shots to me. Like if he improves and keeps the same amount of shots, he can average 20 points. But just sheer of being a little bit more efficient. It's not that between 17 and 20, it's just 1-3 per game, which is not nothing. It's hard to achieve, but hey, this is part of the improvement that I think in order to have a more prominent role, he needs to have.
Yeah, I totally agree. All right, this next question is about players playing off ball more.
Hey guys, Francisco here from Argentina. I have actually 2 questions. One, I would like to know what you expect from Shea, Dort, and J-Dub off-ball this upcoming season. Feel like that them playing a little bit off-ball would help the team a lot. And I would like to know if you guys have tried dulce de leche, and traditional Argentinian dessert that I'm almost sure you will love. Thanks. I love the pod. Keep it up.
Have you had dulce de leche, Michaela?
No, I think I had something like that, but I don't remember.
So I know
It's
that
not new
it's
to me.
made differently in different places. So I don't know if I've had like the traditional like Argentinian way to make it. I know that I've had it like with like on dessert. Like I'll have like a cheesecake that has like dulce de leche like drizzled on it or something like that. I don't know that I've had like straight up had it though, and I
Yeah.
would like to try it.
Yeah, possibly the same. And on off ball, I think that one of the things that I want to do, and it's the second time I say this, it's to make a pod just talking about off ball movement because it's something that this team lacks. So I think that one of the emphasis of this season should be learning how to be effective off ball. And this is Treyman, Lou Dort, Shea, and J-Dub. I think that Giddy, to a certain degree, has to learn how to be effective off ball, but it's not with the shot. It is with, hey, screen, cut, move, back screen, and stuff like that. So it's these sort of things, and I think it is extremely important to see them off the ball. Shea shown in year 2 that he's pretty capable of doing it. He can be efficient while doing it. I think he's better on ball because he's insanely talented. But there will be times where he has to be the screener or pick and roll partner with Giddy. Sometimes he has to relocate to the far corner just to space the court. So yeah, I think that everyone should be able and should show that he's able to play off ball some.
Yeah. I think that Kenrich has done a good job of that and is like a good mentor to some of these young guys and showing them how to function off ball. Like he and Giddy had like instant chemistry just because of the way that he would move off the ball. And so I think Giddy could learn from Kenrich a little bit too, because like Kenrich is not like some knockdown shooter.
No.
And so I think that Giddy could learn a little bit from there because if like you have Giddy screening for Shea and Giddy like flashes to the paint and like feels like he can score there or like just throw a bullet to the corner from wherever on the court.
Yeah.
Like those are the kind of things that you want to see. I think J-Dub is going to be a guy that understands how to play the game so well that he's going to be somebody that plays off ball. We saw it in Summer League. It's only going to increase. You okay?
Yeah. My cell phone dropped. Sorry.
It's okay. I think, he's going to be somebody that's going to be very helpful because he knows how to play angles and he's good at using his body and the athleticism that he has. And so I think that he's going to be a big part of unlocking some things this year. A lot of times I don't factor him in just because I don't know exactly what we're going to get from him this year. And I think it's probably unfair expectations to put on him. But I think that that's somebody that there are very few guys that I think could change like the trajectory of this season for the Thunder. If Jalen Williams comes into the season and is like impactful from day one and plays a big chunk of minutes and is efficient and plays well and he can fill so many roles. He's somebody that you can like, okay, I got to recalibrate a little bit from my 25 wins to whatever it is. Like he's somebody that could possibly impact it. I'm not betting on that happening, but it's definitely possible.
It's when the talent, the overall results are probably better than the talent of the singles. Because if you have players like Kenrich and J-Dub, or at least the idea of J-Dub that we have, then yes, the team can play better. So I completely agree.
This next question is about Sam Presti.
Hey, Andrew, Mikey, this is Carter Bradford, long-time listener, but listening to you guys. What do you guys think are some lessons that Sam Presti has learned after his first 10, 12 years with the Thunder, first time with Durant, Westbrook, Harden, and maybe what he'll do different this time around as far as maybe going into the luxury tax sooner with these guys and not making the mistake with Harden, or maybe making different trades earlier for maybe different players, not getting the the Derek Fishers of the world. So just let me know what you guys think about some lessons he's kind of learned. Thanks, guys. Bye.
So it's going to be interesting to see. A lot of this we don't know yet because we don't know how he's going to upgrade the roster once he feels like he's got the core of the team.
Mhm.
We don't even know exactly what he thinks that he has in this core yet. You know,
Mhm.
I would gander that he thinks it's incomplete and that they've got to go get another like big piece from the draft. And then we'll see. I think that you can definitely learn lessons from the Harden trade in that I think if you gave him truth serum and he had one more go at it, he would have at least given the Harden, experiment one more year. I think you just have to when you think about it and you see what happened with the team.
Yeah, even if you are worried about the locker room, they are just too talented to let it go immediately.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing that it's clear that he understood is wait for the new rules to come in before you commit.
Yeah, I think that's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
And then also, we're seeing how much he's changed with how he's drafting guys.
Yeah.
These are all skilled guys, all can play the game. They're not necessarily great athletes. It's not like anybody's like a really bad athlete, but if you look at like the previous era, like I don't think he would have drafted Josh Giddey in the previous era of the Thunder. Part of that is that the league is evolving and that the game is evolving and changing, but there's not anybody on the team that's like unskilled, that's like Tabo or Andre or anybody like that. Even Serge, like Serge was like a good shot blocker and a good shooter from the mid range, but like,
yeah, and even good was he had potential to be a shooter.
But he was like raw, just like this like crazy athlete, didn't know how to play the game, like couldn't really pass on a short roll. He like he did it like a couple times in a game and we thought it was like some revolutionary thing, but like,
yeah, but it was in year 6.
Man, I know. But this iteration of the team is just so different. Everybody can make that short roll pass. You put them in that situation.
Yeah.
Everybody can. And so that to me is one thing. And also just like overall passing is obviously a big priority. Because like who's a terrible passer that's on the team that was drafted in like the last, these last 2 drafts or acquired in this last like
Pokuševski.
I don't know, man. Poku's got their behind the back, man. Behind the back to the me in the stand. Everybody can pass. That's an important thing. That was not the case. I mean, you take a look at like the number of like good passers that were on the Thunder previously. It's like Westbrook, Durant, Harden, but like those were just like great players anyways.
Yeah.
Outside of those 3, like who is like a great passer that played on this team that was drafted, selected,
Yeah, I mean, I think that is definitely a part of the things that he's doing differently. He or the person he hired. I mean, it's always a collective effort. So even talking about lessons, like it's probably I don't know. But anyway, one thing that I really like that he's doing and was not doing before is not to react.
Mm-hmm.
Like the perk move was a reaction.
Yeah.
It was not like, we can't stand whoever plays in LA at center, and so we need that guy. Right now, I don't see many teams that are constructing their roster in the same way as OKC is doing.
Yeah.
Like all skill, every player can take a shot, pass, or dribble. Like this is not something that is common, and so they are trying to find their own path to success. And I think that this is different from what they had before.
Yeah, no doubt. This next one is about the Paul George trade and the Raptors.
A couple weeks ago, you guys mentioned that the starting point in a PG 13 trade with the Raptors was Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, and 4 first-round picks. Looking back at it, do you wish the Thunder would have traded with the Raptors instead of the Clippers?
What do you think? So Fred VanVleet, Siakam, you get those 4 first rounders. I guess it would depend on what those picks were, because like remember they had the 4th pick in the draft.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, if it
but not with Kawhi and PG, because I'm under the assumption that
Kawhi, PG, and Russ. Right. Yeah, you're right. Never mind. I'm rewriting.
And Russ?
Russ was in the package. Yeah. Russ would have gone to the Raptors too.
Okay.
I still say I would rather have Shea than either Siakam or Fred VanVleet.
As of today, yes.
Even though like their accolades, I mean, all-star teams and Siakam made all NBA. You know, there's like they have that, but if Shea were on a team that was winning, like would Shea, especially in the Eastern Conference, make all NBA? Like I think if Fred VanVleet can make it, I think that there's a chance.
All NBA is tough. All-star, yes.
Definitely make the all-star team like Fred did. I don't think that like 3rd team all NBA is like out of the question for him, especially in the East. So I would still prefer this trade package, and like they've gotten Trey Mann and J-Dub out of the trade too. Like when you start to total it up, so I still like this better just to have Shea, honestly.
Yeah, and the comparison is not with the LA package, is with the LA plus the 4 picks from Houston, the picks and swaps.
Yeah,
which may account to nothing.
Right, exactly.
But those are very valuable now. Like they can be very good picks. If you give Paul George, Kawhi, and Russ to Toronto, that can be a dynamite. So that is the selling point to me, not VanVleet or Pascal Siakam. It's about the picks in that case, because those are players that I don't think they are amenable to stay long term in OKC. It's not like these are players that may be very well saying, "Hey, it's 1 year and then I need to go somewhere else."
Mm-hmm.
So it's really about the picks in that scenario, and there is a high upside for those picks because you can be very bad if something wrong happened.
Yeah. I give me the Clippers and Houston package. You're right. That's exactly what you're measuring it against, which is a lot more difficult rather than just that. Okay, this next question is about tank commanders.
Hey, Down to Dunk. This is Senator Kennedy from Nashville, Tennessee. I just had a quick Ronnie Price question. So do you think, I'm just kidding, I don't have a Ronnie Price question. So my real question is, if you had to have a starting 5 of all tank commanders, who would that starting 5 be? It could be all time, it could be strictly Thunder, it could be around the league, it could be current players only. Just let me know your starting 5 tank commanders. Also, bonus question because I'm greedy. How do you think Michael Cage and or Chris Fisher will pronounce Ousmane Dieng's name this upcoming season? Thanks, guys.
We might get like a Dieng from Cage.
Yeah, Dieng, yes.
Yeah, he's trying to pronounce every letter in that.
I bet Fisher will mess a little bit with Ousmane, like pronouncing it in a
Usman.
No, like more separated, like Ousmane, something like that.
Ousmane Dieng.
Yes, something like that. I bet that can happen.
Tank commanders.
Isaiah Roby. Sorry,
Isaiah Roby.
That is why San Antonio Spurs signed him.
So the guy, I don't know why, when I was listening to this question last night, the first guy that popped into my head was Andre Blatch. I was just like, oh
nice.
This
Philippines nowadays.
Like the ultimate. He's like Christian Wood before Christian Wood was Christian Wood. Like crazy talented, big guy, like 6'11", like 240, just this monster. And I'm trying to remember where he played. Oh, I think he came straight from high school. Like he was a
Yeah.
part of that era. Came straight from high school. But like was on these Wizards teams. He averaged like 16 points per game one season for them, and they were just putrid that year. Let me see how did they
Yeah, he's a guy that has so many mental lapses during the game.
Yeah.
I vividly remember the last game that Italy played against the Philippines. By the way, Italy beat Jokic like 2 days
Wow.
ago.
Yeah.
That's insane. I didn't watch the
is
game.
insane.
I
Yeah.
will keep not watching, so maybe something good happen. But anyway, he had, on one hand, he could do like, I don't know, go for 30, but then he had so many defensive mistakes and
Mhm.
moments where it's like, what are you doing? Why? So
Yeah, I would say give me like a Christian Wood, Andre Blatch front court. And then I would say point guard. You need somebody who's not really a point guard. You need somebody who
Casper Ware. He was the tank commander of the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yeah, Casper Ware, that was pretty brutal. I would say like Jordan Clarkson, I think would be a really good tank commander for a team.
Yeah, too good for that. Yeah, too good. I think
But if we're talking like he's not a point guard, he's like your sixth man. But I think if
Yeah.
you with Christian Wood and Andre Blatch, if you just handed Jordan Clarkson the keys and said, "Hey man, you're the guy. You're
Go
the guy.
cook.
Let's go. Let's do this." And then you throw Nick Young on the wing, and
that's nice.
I'm trying to think who else on the wing. Oh,
Stauskas.
Stauskas stinks, but I'm gonna have to go with the original known loser, TJ Warren.
Oh, TJ Warren. Nice. I think that team could win at least 21 games.
No, they'd win like 8 because no one passes, no one defends. It's just all buckets. It's like buckets only.
And you don't think that they will have like 18 random games in which at least one of the players will score? No, you're right. 21 is too much.
Yeah,
like 15.
Yeah, that would be really, really bad. And they're all like also they're gonna have so many arguments. It's just gonna be just a complete disaster. They're gonna fire the coach midway through the season. It's gonna be a complete disaster. It's gonna be glorious. But yeah,
you should be ashamed that Semaj Kristen is not in that unit.
I don't want to mention his name on this podcast ever again. That's fine.
Anyway, let's do it. OKC only. I would go OKC only. I think that I would have Semaj there as my point guard.
Yeah.
I think that Isaiah Roby needs to be there together with Diakite. Diakite was too good for a tanking team.
I kind of like Diakite, mostly just because he's like the coolest guy ever. But
yeah.
Then,
for a certain amount of games, Hamidou Diallo was the tank commander, but I think it's too good.
He got
for that.
too good at one point.
Yeah, exactly.
You not put Darius on there?
I can't.
Okay.
Darius is the kryptonite of Shea and Giddey together.
Yeah,
it's not a bad player in general. I think it doesn't work with Giddey and Shea right now. I'm really convinced. So
Kalaitzakis?
No, he's not really a Thunder player.
Let's
put in Theo Maledon.
He averaged 17 points per game in his 4 games. So yeah, 10. Yeah.
So Theo can share the backcourt with Semaj. I don't think that is terrible.
Yeah.
We need 2 wings.
Paul Watson.
It doesn't really count. It's not a real player. Come on. We need to find someone who at least played the entire season.
Gabby Deck.
Oh, there was a... Yeah. No, I don't think that he's a 10 player.
Jackson?
It's just like a player that... I don't know. I don't like him. Justin Jackson is a good name. He was good. It was good for our tank. And then at
what about Josh Hall?
Josh Hall. Nice. That is a great name.
Yeah.
I was so into Josh Hall being something. No, it was not Josh Hall. It was Devon Hall. I don't remember.
Devon Hall he was the short guard. Josh
the
Hall.
short guard. No, Josh Hall is
long,
terrible.
Long leg swing. Yeah.
He was terrible. Nice.
What about Abdul Nader?
No, poor Dolly. I grow fond of him.
Yeah, I love that guy. He's the best.
We need a bad power forward.
What about T. Ferg? He'd be really super terrible on a tanking team.
He would be. He would help the tank. Maybe T. Ferg is the answer. If not T. Ferg, I don't want to put Josh Eustace in an all tank team because it's unfair.
Or Josh.
And let's see. Grant Jarrett?
Grant Jarrett. Poor Grant Jarrett, just catching strays on a random Tuesday. He's just trying to enjoy his life. He's the, manager at Best Buy now. Like, just leave him alone.
He's playing professional basketball in Germany, I think.
Oh, okay. I just could think of Grant Jarrett wearing that blue Best Buy,
And by the way, DJ White is now in the front office.
DJ White. Shout out to DJ White.
I saw him play live in Casale, by the way, a few years ago. He was playing for Touring, and he was clearly overqualified for the Italian league, but also not very into the Italian league.
Okay, forwards. Kyle Singler, Patrick Patterson. Done.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Singler is the name.
Yeah, Singler is definitely the name. Okay, this is a question all the way from Australia about expansion.
Hey, Andrew and Mickey. This is Jess, African Kiwi, phoning from Western Australia, which is not African or Kiwi. I've got a question about expansion draft. You spoke about expansion draft on Friday, and it got me thinking, if 2 more teams began, how do those owners come about? Do they pay the NBA $2 billion each, or how do they assess how much a team is worth and who do they buy it from? And then my second question is, I'm presuming both those teams, Seattle and Las Vegas, would be in the Western Conference. So who do you think would shift to the East? Thank you.
Thank you for that question, Jess. Jess has been a long-time listener.
I'm so underqualified to answer the first one.
So the money goes to the owners.
Yeah.
Is like why a lot of owners are in favor of it. They would just get money in their pocket. So I think it is about $2 billion. I think that she's right, is what it would cost. I don't know exactly what it would cost, but money
even with the TV money arriving, like the point to me, if I was one of the owner, I would do basically a projection of what the revenue share will be and the value of the teams, if it's likely to improve or decrease depending on the number. I think that these 2 teams will improve the value of the league, so that's a positive. But at least I need to have owners that are pretty wealthy so they can pay, and that has to make sense with the revenue sharing. Otherwise, why would you do it?
And as far as what team moves east, I think it's Memphis.
Yeah, Minnesota.
It could be Minnesota. I would guess it would be Memphis, though.
Yeah.
If anybody's going to move east, that's what I would guess. I don't know a ton about either one of these questions, if I'm being honest, but that is
Vegas money-wise makes so much sense.
Oh, yeah.
In any case. Like, the point is, let's put Vegas in and let's figure out if someone from Seattle can put anything together. But it may be that I don't know if there is any talk about any other Eastern cities that can be in the mix. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know either. Yeah, I haven't, not that I've heard of. I think most of those cities are covered for the most part that they would want. All right. Thanks again for the question. Here's our next one.
Hey, dudes. It's Tyler from Dude Buffet. I'm out here in Seattle for my cousin's wedding, and I'm just fighting people every day how do I get these hippies from Seattle to understand that no one stole their team? The Starbucks man sold it to a guy who he knew would move it, but they're still drinking their Starbucks out here. I think they should be mad at him instead of me, but I'm the one getting in all the fist fights. Thanks, dudes. Rise together.
No one fought me in Seattle last week.
I was going to say,
But anyway,
McClay was just in Seattle. Were you the one fighting him?
possibly.
Wow.
I actually discussed basketball with someone in Seattle, but it was
Yeah?
very amenable. Yeah.
It's funny because it was definitely the case that they sold the team to a guy they knew wanted a team in Oklahoma City because Clay helped get the Hornets to Oklahoma City during Katrina. And yeah, Clay had super close ties with David Stern. And both of them thought that a team could exist in Oklahoma City. And so the minute that they agreed to sell the team to Clay Bennett and his group, it was almost like a foregone conclusion because the public had already said, we're not going to pay for another arena. We've already paid football and baseball, and we're done. And Clay Bennett was not going to build an arena in Seattle. He was going to bring it to OKC. So, yeah, there were mistakes made. Yeah, I don't know. I would say the only way to stop getting in fistfights is to leave Seattle because, man, I know that if my team was taken, like if the Thunder were taken from here by somebody, we would be miserable people. So I don't blame them. Don't blame them one bit. Okay, this next question is from McKelly.
Howdy, fellas. My name is Chris Stevens from OKC, and I've got a question for McKelly. There's currently several players in the league who are thriving with their current team after a rough start with their original team. I'm thinking of guys like Chris Middleton, Zach LaVine, and especially Andrew Wiggins right now. These players obviously just needed the right team or system to thrive. So my question is, pineapple on authentic Italian pizza just operating in the wrong system while it's thriving on greasy, salty American pizza? Or is it just a bad topping? Thanks, guys.
I think that you are misusing cuisine just to get me mad.
The question is hilarious because it takes such a sharp turn there at the end. Because you're like, okay, we're talking about these players and what they've done. It's just like pizza. It's really funny.
No, I mean, nothing is really misplaced. Anything can have upside. I think that Italian and American pizza are different in terms of taste, and so different toppings are good with different type of pizza. One thing that I want to say is that American pizza is way more sweet than Italian pizza, which is very acid because we don't put really sugar in tomatoes, which is something that is common there. So it's really different. That's why sometimes they say, hey, pineapple, if you put it there is acidity with acidity, and it's not really working for me and stuff like that. Yeah. But speaking for the first part, I think that one of the things that OKC needs to do in the future is trying to find guys in that same spot that the listener was describing.
They tried to last time around. They really did.
But with
Dion, Ennis, even Hashim.
Yeah, to some degree, I mean, they kind of got something, but not really.
Yeah. Yeah, they did not get the result of the guys that he's talking about. You know, you did not get like Andrew Wiggins level player. I mean, that guy would have been like amazing on the Thunder.
But he was a max player. Wiggins was bad to some degree, but still it was 1 year removed from signing a max player that many people said, this is not that bad.
Yeah.
Those are the guys that I think OKC will have financial flexibility and the assets to get in the future.
Yeah. This next question is a fake trade. Interested to see what you think.
What's going on, fellas? My name is Bryson. I'm from North Carolina. I just had a quick question for y'all. I heard you guys talking about, trading Darius Baisley just, a couple episodes ago, and I was thinking about a trade for him with Beef Stew, Isaiah Stewart, and obviously Baisley. I think that Detroit could use the wing stopping potential, the defensive Baisley. They have the offense to match up with it, and I just think that Beef Stew would actually be a pretty good running back with Chet, considering what he does and the fact that he is working on his shot, whether that comes through or not. I think he could be a good backup, big center man. So, and just thank you guys. Have a great day.
I would say yes to this trade.
There's no way Troy Weaver does.
I don't think Troy Weaver likes that deal. Isaiah Stewart's like a good player. He's also, so like some trepidation I would have is like he and Jeremiah are like pretty similar. Jeremiah is probably a little bit better passer. Isaiah is like a tougher player, probably better rebounder. But yeah, Isaiah is like one of their better young prospects, and he's still young, still developing. They're hoping that he'll develop a 3-point shot this year. So yeah, I don't think they would need him. Also, they've got a lot of guys that they like project-y bigs or wings. Like, they just signed Marvin Bagley to like a pretty big deal. They still have Kelly Olynyk. They have Nerlens Noel on their team now, which is...
They have also Jalen Duran. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
They drafted him, right? They paid it New York.
Yeah.
So I think that this is why Bryson asked this question, like, because he doesn't really fit into the minute that Detroit has to some degree.
Yeah. Really, the other guys I named don't fit as much. I think that you want to play Beef Stew with Jalen Duran if he can space out.
What a terrible idea.
If he can space out?
Yeah, but would you guard him? Like, is your game... Sure. No, my game plan is to let him take 9 threes.
If he can shoot from the corners, he'd be a super valuable player because he's tough as nails. And if he can shoot it, you just don't believe in the shot.
No, even if I do believe, that is not the point. Like, he has to be like a 45% 3-point shooter from the corners for me to even thinking about planning for that.
That's a high bar.
Yeah, but this is the PJ Tucker bar.
Yeah.
Like, he was that good, and that's why. And even then, people were not really closing out on him. He was just nailing threes, and people say, "Oh, yeah, okay, the other alternative is worse." So I will just pack the paint. So to me, like, and it's the same thing that I'm afraid of with Jeremiah. He has to take a lot of threes, and he has to make them to a high clip before people will start to care. Look in Summer League, they were not like staying close to him in pick and pop situation. With Chet was, hey, I'm glued to him. I'm not letting him move. True. That is different. So that's why I don't see the two working together. Whereas I see Karl Anthony Towns playing with Gobert, because nobody will leave Karl Towns open anywhere. Yeah. So that works. I think that in due time, it may work with Mobley and Jarrett Allen because of Mobley. With Beef Stew, I don't believe that.
Yeah. The problem with Beef Stew, too, is that he is not a 4.
No.
He's a small 5.
Yeah.
And so
to me, is not either a 4.
Duran's
he's a small 5.
250. He's big, though. He's a lot bigger than Isaiah is. So yeah, I theoretically love the idea of having Isaiah Stewart on this team just because I like him as a player and a prospect. He's going to be pretty similar to Jeremiah. He's probably a higher level prospect than Jeremiah is. So yeah, I would definitely say yes to that for Baisley. I don't think that they have any use for Darius though at this point. Like, I would rather have Darius than Kevin Knox, but I don't know.
It's a pretty low bar.
It's a pretty low bar. I'm not sure that there's a deal to be done there, but I do like where your head's at. Keep throwing us fake trades. It's a good thing. All right. This next question is about the CBA.
Hey, Andrew McKellar, longtime listener, love the show. I was listening to the most recent Summers of Sam about the Paul George trade, and it made me have a question about the upcoming CBA. My understanding is one of the disagreements between the owners and the players is that star players are signing these long contracts and asking out before the end of the contract. But isn't the situation a lot better for both the players and the franchises? I know the Thunder were way better off with Paul George signing the long-term deal rather than doing a one-year deal. And it also gave Paul George some financial stability. If you give me your opinions on that, that'd be great. Thank you.
Oh, I think he's absolutely right. I don't think that owners are happy that contracts are basically not worth anything, or not worth anything. That anyone can discuss in public the request to a trade. I don't think that they will like him. They absolutely like what happened in OKC with Paul George. That was quiet until it was done.
Yep.
So I think that there is value on one hand, because if those star players are signed to contract, the original team can get assets for. And also, talking about and moving stars is what makes the NBA special. 365 or 66 days a year. So they don't want to move away from that, but maybe inserting something which is extremely hard, but it's sort of a tampering stuff. Like, you can't tamper with your team by saying I want out. Like that thing may be discussed somehow to control how quickly that spreads or something like that. But even then, again, the NBA makes money if Mark Stein or Shams or Voish tweet about, hey, KD wants out. That is money for everyone. So I don't expect that to be a very hard negotiation point.
Yep. Yeah, I understand how this looks like a broken system, and in a lot of ways it is. But the fact remains that everybody's making money.
Yeah, and
it's unfortunate that guys can ask out of contracts pretty quickly. However, the Thunder are in a good spot right now. I know they're not going to win next year, but they're in a really good spot. There are teams that are in bad spots. Like the Wizards are in a bad spot. They just maxed out Bradley Beal, and they have basically nobody else to really play with him or to give themselves a future. Those teams are in trouble. The Knicks are in trouble to a degree. There are a lot of teams in trouble. The Thunder aren't one of them. The Thunder are on their way up. The Thunder will be a good team at some point. It will happen. Whether it's as soon as 2 seasons from now or 3, whenever that is, it's going to happen. It's all about management and ownership at this point. That's what will differentiate teams from one another. And the Thunder could have found themselves in a really awful place, except for they had really good management and really good ownership. And so, to me, that's always going to be the differentiator. If you made a rule against asking out of their contracts, there would be something else as a reaction to it would happen that people would be up in arms about. So at the end of the day, these players are going to do what they want to do. They want to play where they want to play. And it just is. So I don't know. I'm not in a place where I think the NBA needs fixed. I mean, the Durant thing was great for content. It was great for us for several weeks. And even though nothing happened, ultimately, nothing happened, but it was a great content generator. And that's a big thing for this league. It's just having eyes on it. So I don't expect them to fix anything, but largely because everybody's making money.
Yeah.
All right. Last question.
Hello, Down to Dunk. My name is Luke Drake, and I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma. My question for you today is, with Chet being out or going to be out for the rest of the season, I was going to ask, how important do you think this time is for Poku's development? I know that a lot of people have thought that he could be a bust, and I just wanted to know if there's any more Poku news you could give us. Thank you.
It is extremely important. I mean, it would have been even with Chet here. He has to start showing something in terms of being consistent and being efficient. Because consistency, to be completely fair, I think that we saw stretches of this season where it was helpful, which is better than the first season. Now we have to see results in terms of efficiency. I'm not saying league average efficiency, but even something like 45% from 2 and 33% from 3 would be a good achievement for Poku. I don't even know if he qualifies as a bust, because he will get his option guaranteed throughout this contract, and this is not the norm in general. Like, there are many players between picked in the teens that don't make it. So the norm is to have about 20 meaningful player every year. So Poku was picked 17, so it's kind of a failure, but not like a bust is Anthony Bennett.
Yeah,
a bust is Kevin Knox that you pick 8, and even Knox is not a bust. Like, he will not be remembered. Period. Like the bust, you clearly remember because they were top 5 guys that were terrible. Not even Dante Exum is discussed as a bust. Like, no one remembers him.
Yeah, he's a bust, but yeah,
He is. But how many times do you remember him?
Yeah, no, I mean, you're right. He's not thought of. Marvin Bagley is a bust.
Yes,
he's pick number 2, and is remembered. Josh Jackson is a bust at 4 for the Suns.
I keep remembering about Josh Jackson and his.
I mean,
when he escaped at the music festival.
Oh my god. Jahlil Okafor.
Yeah.
Big time bust. Derek Williams in 2011 was a bust. MKG is a bust.
Yeah. Even Jabari Parker to some degree.
Yeah. But yeah, I think pick 17, I don't know, call him a bust. A couple things about Poku. Just if you're into hope and stuff like that. He's not even 21 yet. Doesn't turn 21 until December. So there's one thing. Second thing, he jumped from 34% from the field to 40% from the field between the 2 seasons. Like, he went from, oh my gosh, he should never play in the NBA, to, oh my gosh, can he play in the NBA? Like, that's the question that we're talking now. And didn't make a big jump as far as 3-point percentage goes. He was 28% last year and 28% the year before. But he did go from 41% effective field goal percentage to 47%. And then from 2, he went from 40% to almost 50%. So if he can he didn't have to be a great 3-point shooter, but if he can be a 33 or 34% 3-point shooter, then it's like, okay, like, now we're cooking with something. Because this guy, like, defended better last year than he did in his rookie season.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these are like baby steps for Poku. And so he's got to have a really good summer. He's got to make some improvement. He's got to be more comfortable on the court. But with Chet gone, again, it's a similar conversation we're having about Dort. It's like, now there's room for guys to take minutes and to develop. And that's what's most important when it comes to developing a player from really like nothing to something, is, do you have the time and the resources to invest? And they do. And Sam Presti talked about this when he did the Chet press conferences. Like, something good will come of this. And I think part of like what that something good could be is that somebody on the team is going to get time, whether that's Poku or, Baisley still could improve. I know that I'm out on Baisley and that a lot of people star, but he's only 22. Like
Yeah,
there's
he's young.
that he could develop. I think Lou Dort could be that guy. Usman Jang could be that guy. Somebody could have the opportunity to become a better player. And a lot of times you just don't know. Again, Jordan Poole was terrible. If you would have taken a poll on the Warriors Reddit page after his rookie season, how many years does Jordan Poole play in the league? I bet people have said like 2, maybe one more
over
season.
under 1.5.
Yeah. I think everybody would say under. Like, this dude sucks. And if somebody would have told you that he would have played on a team that won the NBA Finals and played a crucial role for them, I think they would have just said, like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
There has to be another guy with the name Jordan Poole that we bring in to do that, because not that guy.
Yeah.
You just don't know. For the most part, most Jordan Poole stories end up being just a guy that is in and out. They are Samaj, and they're in and they're out and they're gone.
Yeah.
That's the more likely story. However, there are times where guys improve, and when they do, it's in environments like this. So there's a chance that it could be Poku, that it could be any of the guys that are on the roster are going to have a chance. So, but they got to go take it. That's the thing. Poole took the opportunity. He got better. He tried hard. He fit in. He worked. And he became a really good player. One of these guys is going to have to do that. It could be Trey Mann. It could be Poku. It could be, I think Ty Jerome's probably going to get cut, but heck, it could be Ty Jerome. I don't know. I don't know who it's going to be, but there are a lot of guys that are going to get the chance. It could be Aaron Wiggins. Aaron Wiggins could be that guy. I might even have more faith in Aaron Wiggins than I do Poku or Baisley or any of these guys. But somebody's going to have the chance, and I'm interested to see who that is. Okay. Anything else before we go, McKelly?
Can't wait to pod again on Monday.
Looking forward to the Monday pod. Thanks so much for listening. We appreciate you guys. Hope that your week is going well. We'll talk to you guys again. We're going to do the podcast on Thursday with Alex. So that's the pod that we're going to talk about the Russell Westbrook for Chris Paul trade. So join us. I don't know what time on Thursday we're going to do it, but we'll be here. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you guys again on Thursday.